Minus X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour. We've got a lot going on today, Aaron, for a few reasons. One, you're going to be on your way to New York tomorrow. We'll kind of dive into that at the end. Luckily for me, I'm not going anywhere. But we do have a special Memorial Day recap. And, of course, we're going to kick it off with the cleanest guy in sports. And that is not Damian Lillard. I'll get to that in a minute. Dame Lillard, as I call him. This report came out. But we might be breaking news because it just came out. The split sample for betamethasone, I hope I said that properly. There was a positive for Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit. Basically, that split sample came back positive. What a split sample is, it's just another piece of the original sample for people who might have thought it was a different type of test. That's not what it is. It's basically you have a test and you have a 1A or a 1B, however you want to look at it. That came back positive as well. Aaron, you've been on the record for a long time now saying this was going to come back positive anyway. It was just a matter of time. So with this official news coming out, what are your initial thoughts? I didn't get it to do a real introduction because this literally just came out 5-10 minutes ago. So what are your thoughts on this? And I guess we can kind of sum this up because there's no further progressions from here. So what do you think of this whole situation?
Yeah, it's still way too long. It took way too long for this to happen, but I am relieved that it's done and it's done before the Belmont Stakes. I really did not want to go, be in the middle of June or even July and this news come out. So I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's official. I went on everybody that would ask me any shows that we went on. It's like, look, it's 99.9% chance it's going to come back positive. It hardly never is anything different. So I'm relieved that it's over with, but in the same breath, it's not over with. And I think we all know that there'll be appeals, there'll be fighting. Now what's going to happen is that this will go to the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. They will analyze the data and they will make a ruling within the next couple of days, if not sooner. And what you're going to see is Mandaloun will be the Kentucky Derby winner for 2021. That's going to happen. And so what we knew was going to be official now is official today. So I'm relieved that it's out there and now we officially know that it was a positive test in the Kentucky Derby.
So I say this with a grain of take this with a grain of salt, as they say. I know Bobby B very well. He's going to appeal this process. This is not over with. Now, maybe the results will change and he won't be able to, but he's going to appeal till the last possible appeal, anything to keep his name in the highlights or his name in the headlines or keep that fake hair of his on camera, whatever the case may be. He is going to do whatever he can. So, yes, this is not the end of it, but the news is official. Let's get to a few different notes real quick. If you had Medina Spirit money, don't worry, that money will not be asked to come back. They are not allowed to. Once that is paid out, that is paid out. I know, Aaron, you had a class action suit, the head of it, and Michael Baychok was involved. We'll see what happens with that. I guess this is just further evidence that maybe I think it's going to be incredibly tough to win that. I think they know they're fighting an uphill battle on that front, but if you're someone like us, there's really no harm or reason to not get involved. I didn't bet the Kentucky Derby, so I'm not getting involved. But if you bet Mandaloun or Essential Quality maybe for a show spot, I don't know, whatever the case may be. So they're still fighting on that front. Aaron, before we move on, because we have a lot to get to, are there any final notes or anything that in this process you're looking forward to or what you kind of want to hear is going to be moving next, anything like that?
Yeah, so the good news for the people that have filed the lawsuit is now they can 100% go after it. They were kind of in that waiting period of we got to know that this is official before we really get going on this. So it's official. And listen, this comment here, if you have proof that you bet on Mandaloon and you would have cashed a ticket, you can get in touch with that with the lawyers and be part of it. And listen, like what Ricky said, it's going to be tough. It's an uphill battle. But it's possible. And if you want to get involved in it, I certainly would encourage you to do so. There have been a few other lawsuits filed as well against Bob Baffert. So there's a few out there that you can get attached to. Again, you do have to have proof. So say you had a physical ticket that day, you're at Churchill Downs and you threw it away. Yeah, you're going to be kind of out of luck in that situation. But if you can show a screenshot or show a betting history that you've made it online, you can get involved in it. So it's good news for those people because now it is official. If this thing comes back and it shows that it was a false positive, they have no case, obviously. So it's very good news for the people that are filing the lawsuit. And like you said, Ricky, I think it's a long shot, but I don't think it's completely out of the question either. So at worst, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Baffert and the industry to kind of clean this thing up. And at best, you guys are all going to get paid. So nothing bad can come out of it as far as I'm concerned.
And you also let's look at it from the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is nothing happens, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like if you get involved in this class action suit, maybe you'll spend a couple hours dealing with it. But at the end of the day, it's not like you got to take time away from your family, things like that, to get involved. You just really got to show evidence. Unfortunately, if you threw away your paper tickets, like Aaron said, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. They can't just take your word for it. But if you bet online, any form of online wagering, or you can get a picture or some hardcore evidence or things like that, then that would be great. Aaron, we're going to get to Lone Star today regarding Monday. We're going to recap Monday's races at Lone Star. We're going to recap Monday's races at Santa Anita. They had 3 stakes races. One of them was a Breeders' Cup Win and You're In. We'll dive into that a little bit more. And then we're going to do the Belmont entries that came out for Belmont Day. We are not going to talk about Friday, which, by the way, is an absolute fantastic, fantastic card. We're just going to go talk to Saturday. Aaron has a heart out today, so we're going to actually stick to the schedule. Aaron, while we get to these stakes races, kind of before we start, just to kind of tell everyone what you were telling me, basically the tournament you were in and that kind of setup real quick. I'm going to show it now. I believe we're starting with race number 7. That was the Memorial Day Sprint, which is right here for you guys to see. The Memorial Day Sprint Stakes. So before we get started, Aaron, kind of just tell us what this betting challenge you were in. Spend 30 seconds to a minute, whatever. Basically, the tournament you were in, the structure behind it, and maybe where you were at this point in the tournament or how you were kind of shaping up the final races of the day.
So a couple things. Before I do that, Bob Baffert's lawyer, Craig Robinson, has come out quickly with a statement, and that's the shock to anybody. These guys are on it. I think they just sit around all day waiting for this. Basically said in response to the inquiries, this will acknowledge that Medina Spirit split sample confirmed the finding of betamethasone at 25 picograms. There's other testing that is being conducted, including DNA testing. We expect this additional testing to confirm that the presence of the drug was from the topical ointment Automax, which they said was treated for the skin rash, and it was not done by injection. So what this really means, I have no idea, but this is just the statement I'm reading. At the end of the day, we anticipate that this case to be about the treatment of Medina Spirit skin rash with Automax. We have nothing further to say until the additional testing is complete. So again, I don't really know why that makes any difference, but I thought I would read it as it just came to me.
I'm giving them an A+ on promptness. I'm not giving them that because to Aaron, to your point, before we get into these races, I'm sure they had a statement ready to go if it was a positive, if it was a negative, like they were ready to go. They didn't just draw that up 5 seconds ago. So A+ for promptness, F- minus for everything else they've done. All right, Aaron. So again, kind of get us back to Lone Star, kind of what the challenge was about. You don't have to get into details number-wise. That's your business if you want to share it, but just more so like your structure and maybe your thought process. Everyone keep in mind, these races that we're about to get to were taken off the turf if they were on. Obviously, if they're on the dirt, they were like muddy or sloppy. But kind of just briefly walk us through like your mindset at this point and more so kind of what you were thinking as the rest of the races progressed. I think we have 5 or 6 to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go through the numbers. I don't care to share what I did there. Yeah. So basically what happened, Samich and I played in the Lone Star Challenge on Monday. It's a $2,500 buy-in, and you have to play $2,500 within the first 7 races on the card. So that made it a little tricky because the first 6 races were just regular Lone Star type allowance, claiming and maiden claiming. So my big opinions were in the last 4. So I just tried to bet $2,500 as safely as possible, on the first 7 races, and then kind of get crazy in the last 4. In the last 4 races, whatever your bankroll was left, you had to bet half of it. So they really wanted you to bet and kind of churn that handle. So it made it kind of fun. It was unique. So yeah, to the 7th race, if you want to get into that, it's the last one of the 7 where you have the opportunity or you have to bet $2,500. I came into this race needing to bet $1,200, and I bet it all to show on Monday calls. And you might think, why did you do that? You're getting $210 back for this. I just needed to bet money and not lose it in this race. So obviously would never recommend that play for anybody unless you're in that Lone Star Challenge and you need to bet money and get a profit back of any kind.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we'll kind of walk through. I think the Santa Anita races we'll just do quickly, but we'll do a little bit differently because you were in the challenge and Mike was in the challenge as well. There were a lot of prices that came home. Nick says I did horrible on the sequence. Nick, you are not the only one.
No.
This thing got really, really crazy. We're going to show some of like the pick 4 and pick 5 prices at the end. The things were nuts. So our Iris Rose, kind of took this one, and Aaron took Monday call again, just playing it very, 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 very safe. Gets back 210, but at this point you're a winner for what you were trying to accomplish.
Right.
And we'll move on now to race 8. So
before we move on, we got to talk about this race because the bell curve, Joel Rosario gives one of just a mind-numbing ride on Monday Call. Monday Call is a speed horse, never been behind, hardly ever in a race, and in a 5-horse field here. And our Iris Rose did have speed, but was coming out of like a $25,000 claimer into this. And Joel Rosario rates Monday Call off the lead. Not only that, puts her in a position to where mud is hitting her face the entire race, puts her on the inside. Not only that, up to that point, speed had won every race on the dirt. And it was just like, I cannot believe this just happened. And not only that, the horse had run in the stretch, was making up ground. So an all-time bad ride. But yeah, as far as for me, it didn't really matter. But for people, the bet Monday Call or singled Monday Call, yeah, sorry, bell curve screwed you.
Yeah, well, I don't subscribe to the bell curve theory, but I was close. The Rock Your World race, I just still can't get over. We'll move on here. This is where Aaron really needs to kind of get going. This was the Chamberlain Bridge Stakes. This was originally scheduled for the turf. We had some good horses in here, horses I was interested in, Texas Wedge, Chaos Theory. But I think I'm saying this, Boan Nergis, I think I said that right, took a lot of money. I was shocked by how much money this horse took. This horse draws away, almost wins by a length. Aaron, where were you sitting after this race? Who did you have in this race? How did you kind of play this one out?
So yeah, I came into the last 4 races with $2,475. So I lost $25 in the first 7 races and bet $2,500. So I felt really good about it. That was my goal, was to be even going to these last 4 races. That's where my opinions were. So here's what happened. The horses are in the paddock. They're getting ready to come on the track, and a huge storm hits. And it rains hard. And there's a weather delay of like 30, 45 minutes. They take the race off the turf. My plan, if the race was on the turf, was to bet $750 to win on Texas Wedge. Come off the turf, I skipped the race completely because I thought I can't do it. Share the Upside was the other horse I thought about putting a win wager on, but I just didn't like the horse enough, and thankfully I did in the horse race second. I ended up skipping this race completely. So now I've got 3 races left. One's an off the turf event, and I've got $1,250 I have to wager. It was a little scary, but for this race, as far as the race itself, listen, the 8 looked like the winner the whole way around. Just kind of
Yeah.
stalked share the upside and just kind of blew by. So there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, off to turf race, a lot of turf horses here. What can you really do? Just bad luck that this race got rained off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add because when a race like this gets taken off, these horses aren't going to come out. And I think the biggest reason why a lot of people say is, well, why? It's because this isn't like an allowance optional claiming or a claiming event even where it's like, all right, you're going to find that race potentially next week. You might not see another 5 furlong turf sprint that you want to enter your horse in for months potentially. And that's one of those things where it's like you angle and you mark out your calendars like for the whole year. And this is just where they landed. And at this point, Aaron, like they were ready to run. The storm comes. What are they supposed to do an hour before? I mean,
with this one and with the 10th that came off, it's hard because it's Lone Star and you had horses shipping in. It's like, hell, they're here, so it's really hard to scratch them and say, well, we're not even going to run. And then we got to go all the way back home.
Right. And it's exactly wherever you're coming from, whether it's the West Coast, New York, whatever, probably not New York, I'm guessing, because they're going to have some races this weekend. But either way, right, it just makes things very, very difficult. And again, it didn't even rain like the night before. So you knew, like, it rained an hour or two before. At that point, like you're ready to go. So it's just a tough situation there to pull horses and whatnot. Let's move on to the Texas Derby. This was won by Warrant, who did go off as your favorite. Joel Rosario, I guess, on that bell curve, gets the job done here. Again, Warrant drew away. Warrant was pretty far off for a decent amount and just found this extra gear. Aaron, this race was dominated by 2 Oaklawn runners at the top there. Good prices. Did you have anyone in this race? Was this a race that you were involved in with your bankroll?
Yeah, this is the race that got me to where I thought I could win the thing. So what I did, I had $1,250 left to invest. I invested, or that I had to invest, and I invested $250 in this race. I bet $200 to win on the 4 Mr. Wireless at 14-1. And the reason why I did it, even though Warrant was my top choice, I thought, wow, 14-1. $200. If this horse wins, I am in great shape. And so I'm standing out on the rail. It's about 2 minutes to post. And Samich is with me and he goes, you know what you need to do here? I know you're not betting Warrant. You don't want to put, because if you're going to bet a favorite in these things, you need to put a big part of your bankroll on it. And I didn't feel confident enough in Warrant. He said, well, what you need to do right now is go bet an exacta, bet it straight, pick the amount, bet Warrant over Wireless. That way, or Mr. Wireless. That way, if your opinion is right and Warrant wins and Mr. Wireless runs well like you think he's going to, you're still going to get paid. I said, okay, great idea. I bet a $50 straight exacta 5-4. It comes in, my bankroll, I get like $1,800 back. All of a sudden, I'm at almost $4,000 with 2 races to go and in 13th place. In the top 10, get an NHC seat. So this was a huge race for me to hit that exacta. Boy, Wireless winning would have been even better. That horse ran fantastic at 14-1. But, Rosario here, he just rode Warrant like he was the best horse, and he absolutely was. He was wide the whole way pretty much and just came rolling home. It was a pretty nice race for him.
Yeah, this was definitely a play against Super Stock. That was the biggest thing I took away. Like, this was Super Stock, and I don't mean to be that guy. Super Stock's not very good. Like, he has one race on his resume, and that race was against Concert Tour, who no one really likes at this point. So, again, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this was a complete play away.
That was a huge key to, like I said, I had strong opinions in the last 4 races. I had a strong opinion in the turf race that got rained off, so I said the hell with it. This was a strong opinion against a horse, and you hit it. It's Super Stock. I wanted nothing to do with him, and I knew he would take money. So I thought, this is an opportunity. I have a strong opinion, and I don't have to bet a ton here to make a ton, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, let's move on to the final race. I think this was the final stakes race of the day.
Nope, they're 10 and 11. There's 2 there.
Right. Okay, right. One more, and then we have the Sexton Mile. Okay, this was the Ujja. I think I said that right. The Ujja Board Distaff Stakes. This was originally scheduled for 1 mile on the turf. It goes to the dirt. the way Laura's Light ran didn't matter what they're running on. They could have been running on clouds. It wouldn't have mattered. She was much, much the best. Aaron, this finished up the exact way it was supposed to in odds, except for Curlin's Journey finished ahead of Summer in Saratoga. But you see 4-5, 2-1, 6.5-1 over 9-2. And then gold included. Off slow wouldn't have mattered. But how good was Laura's Light? You were there in person watching this.
Awesome. Very, very, very good. She just took it to him early and blew the doors off. And so here was the problem. The race, this was my biggest play of the day when the race was on the turf. When the race came off the turf, I shied away from it because the horse didn't have any dirt form whatsoever. Unfortunately, the horse took to it fine. I didn't bet a penny here. And the position I was in, if I just bet this horse with a large win wager like I was planning on, probably would have got an NHC seat. Didn't do it, skipped it, and went to the last race. But Laura's Light looked like a cinch on the turf and ran like a cinch on the dirt. I mean, this was a good performance.
Yeah, the only thing I'll push back in the theory, and not against what you said, but to your point, this wasn't a cinch for her on the turf. Like, because Tune comes off, and I did kind of like Summering a tad, I don't know if it was a cinch on the turf. And I'm with you. When you're in a tournament like this, you got to be very, very careful. If you have any doubts at all, you can't bet. Like, I'm not a tournament player. Maybe down the road I will be. But you're right. When you're in a position like you're 13th, it's one thing if you're 58th and you're grasping at straws. You're right on the cusp, especially knowing you have to get top 10. It's not like you have to win the thing. It is nice to win. But the goal is to get a top 10 and then move up. I'm with you. So right here, I mean, Laura's Light pays 360. It was the lowest 4-5 you can get. You didn't really get much more to place than to show. You would have been better off just betting the show for the dime. Let's move on though to the final race. This is a Sexton Mile, and Aaron, this is the race that I think kind of took you out of contention. You come into this. You come into the spot. What, 13th still, 14th, something like that.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, I'm 13th, and I'm like $300 out of it. But I have to wager $1,000 on this race, and it was just a situation. I did not think CZ Rocket would win. I just had this feeling that he would kind of. Here, I'll go ask this question real quick. Did you come close to firing on her since she was? Yes. That we were sitting on a table with Samich and I and another guy who was a super nice guy and his wife, and we all sat there and said, "Boy, Constitution, she'll probably be fine." And honestly, it's where I lost it. We'll say I lost it because what happened in the 11th race, I lost it because I didn't bet her in the 10th race. So. But what are you going to do? So anyway, yeah, to the 11th race, I had to bet $1,000. It was in a great situation though, because if I bet and I win, I'm in the NHC. And if I lose, I came down here, I played well, I made money. You get to keep your profits in your buy-in. So, you make a couple $100 and it's whatever. So, while the main goal obviously was to get the NHC seat, there wasn't a lot of pressure at this time. So that was nice. It wasn't like I had to go all in, to get it done. We just analyzed this race forever, and we thought Warriors Charge is going to get the lead. Our speed has been great here. We looked at the closers, and it's like, I think CZ Rocket's going to flatten at a mile. And some of these other closers, we just didn't like them. Bet it to win on Warriors Charge, and within a millisecond, the horse hops at the gate and is like 20 lengths behind, and it's all over right there. So never even got a thrill, knew it was over from the start. And the comfort I took in it, CZ Rocket ran second. I never could have gotten to the winner, so I didn't really feel bad. But we knew we could beat CZ Rocket. We just Warriors Charge hops at the gate, and that's it.
Yeah, I guess the solace in the whole thing is that you did he make a little money and break even? What was?
I made a couple $100, so that was great. And I got a lot of experience in playing. I never played a live bankroll tournament before, So I had to kind of learn on the fly, and I debated playing in it the whole drive down. I was like, yeah, I'll probably just hang out with Samich. And I was like, no, let's play. So anyway, I got a lot of experience, and that was good. It was just when you have to come in with a strategy, and you have to play it all around your big opinions. And my big opinion was Lore's Light, and then off the turf, got scared, and also, the eighth race came off the turf, and the big play that I would have had, Texas Wedge, didn't run very well. So that was like, well, hell, Lore's Light might not either, and I can't lose it all in an off the turf race. So
the best way, before we'll just end it here, and then we'll actually, you know what, we'll get to some prices of all the pick fours and stuff before I get to my point. I mean, you could see the $2 pick five. I don't know why it's listed here for $2, to be brutally honest. I have no idea, but it is. So even if, that number, if you were to divide that by 4 for 50 cents, I mean, you're talking over like $4,100, something like that. I mean, it was kind of insane. The best thing I could say from afar, because I wasn't part of the tournament, I wasn't updated. Aaron told me right before we came on, Aaron, you were like 8 for 10 in a basketball game, and you're upset. It's like you played the whole thing right. You played the game right. You missed one shot that may have ruined it. But, these tournaments, like, it's like a basketball game. Like, these guys go 9 for 10, 10 for 10 to win. So then you miss like one shot, the Lore's Light race. I'm not talking about to win the thing, but at least to get to the top 10.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you had a bad time, bad game, bad performance. It just sucks that there's nothing to show for it in the end. But you made a couple $100. You had a nice. Hopefully, you didn't get soaked while you were there because it was raining. It was raining the whole weekend. It was really, really gross on that end. But you enjoyed yourself, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah. I got experience, and that was a big thing. And I did pretty much what I planned on doing. When the races got rained off the turf, I said to myself, all right, we're not betting those 2 races. So I still stuck to the plan, and like I said, made money, got experience, still finished 17th out of 105 people. So, for confidence building, it's like, okay, I can go on to the next one and see that I can compete, and I know kind of what to do for the next live bankroll. Because like I said, handicapping and my handicapping is not a problem. It's playing a tournament is different. It's very different. And if you're inexperienced, you're kind of up against it. So it was nice to get the experience and also have some success. So you're like, okay, I have a really good plan for the next time I play. So all in all, it was good. But yeah, I mean, to be right there and have a shot, and I wouldn't be mad. I'm not mad anyway, but I wouldn't even be irritated with it. But he didn't get a chance. Like, he out of the gate, Warriors Charge hops in the air, and it's over.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing you could do with that. And again, the game plan, if for you, was I'm not betting the races off the turf, that kind of eliminates what happens. If Lore's Light wins by 40 lengths, doesn't matter. You told yourself you weren't going to bet it. I mean, it is. Let's get to 3 races at Santa Anita that I think is important to cover. You're going to like this. I didn't share this with you. I'm going to share this on the air. I texted Magic. Magic texted me on maybe Saturday morning. I was in Saratoga. Mind you, I got to share this experience. I'm in Saratoga. The first thing I do, I get there Friday night late. I drop my stuff off. The first thing I do, I drive right to the front entrance. I just stood there. It's raining. It's not raining. It's pouring. Just standing there. I'm just looking at the sign. And you feel chills. Like, you feel like you're in a different atmosphere.
Yep.
And I get a phone call from my mom. She's like, "Where are you? It's raining outside. You dropped your bags off and you left." I said, "I'm just standing out. I'm just standing outside." She goes, "What do you mean you're standing outside?" I was like, "I'm just staring at the sign." She goes, "What's going on over there?" I was like, "Nothing. I'm just staring at it." So I did that for like 5 or 10 minutes, just literally thinking about all the stuff that we missed last year. So that was the first thing. And then Saturday, I'm getting ready to go to the harness track. I don't know if you've ever been there, but that's the only thing open. They're simulcasting. I want to be with the true degenerates. That's where I want to be. We're there with my dad. Magic texts me and says, "Oh, just want to let you know the Pennine Ridge is off." And I I said, great, this is awesome. And then I said, yeah, I said, screw that place. Talking about Belmont. And he says, we need to combine the weather at Santa Anita with the Belmont horses on the turf. I said, yeah, well, let's combine the marriage. So that was a little funny. But there for the first time in a long time, Santa Anita had big fields. We'll start with the Shoemaker Mile, Grade 1. I believe this was the win in your in race because Smooth Like Straight was able to get the job done. Aaron, I've said this for a long time. Smooth Like Straight is good in California. I don't want him outside of that. As far as I know, Santa Anita's still in Arcadia, California, and he won by 3 to 5, wins by a length and a half. What did you think of this performance, and would you take a shot if he were to come to New York, whether it's Saratoga, Belmont, or maybe Kentucky, as we wrap up Churchill Downs in the final month?
Depends on if Domestic Spending and Colonel Liam are in the race, right? 2 races back. This horse, I shouldn't say almost beat him because he was never going to beat him, but he was right there with him in range at the big race at Churchill there, the Old Forester, where Domestic Spending and Colonel Liam dead heated. By the way, they're going to rematch, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Smooth Like Straight here, Magic Test Me is like, I'm surprised that he's your best bet on the card. I said, if you can compete with those 2 monsters, you're going to beat the hell out of any of the trash that you have in California, Magic. And he did. He just takes some gate to wire. It was really impressive.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Aaron, the only horses that he's lost to, we'll say dating back to last Labor Day, he's lost to 3 horses. Hit the Road by a neck, Colonel Liam, and Domestic Spending. That's all he's lost to.
Yep.
When he runs in California, he doesn't lose. He lost to Hit the Road by like a head. He just doesn't lose. So that's where I was. I was a little disappointed in a horse like Whisper Not. Took a lot of money. I thought that horse would be on the lead. That's the only way you're going to beat him. But Smooth Like Straight just took the lead. And the first quarter was slow, 23-2. I think you could have gotten to the lead, but Giovanni Franco, for whatever reason, couldn't get him there. Let's move on to the next race. There are 3 stakes races. This is the second one, the Hollywood Gold Cup. I think a lot of people really question Country Grammar coming into the race. How good is he? He was much better than this group, and he does go off as the favorite. He hadn't won since the Peter Pan last year. I will admit, Aaron, this is probably one of the weaker groups. I didn't love this field, but he got the job done, and he battled back. Ends up beating Royal Ship. What did you think of this one?
I mean, if there's any evidence that anybody needs that Bob Baffert is not doing things legitimately, it's this horse. Look, this horse was with Chad Brown, like not some idiot trainer, was with Chad Brown, and he was just really average, right? Like he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. He's come with Baffert and just ran 2 fantastic races in a row. Royal Ship passes him, and it's like, I'll just re-rally and beat you. I mean, I don't know what to say. Listen, as far as the horse's performance in this race, I thought it was really good. I thought Country Grammar was great. I thought Royal Ship was really good. I'm with you. The rest of the field I didn't like. I Express Train is just what he is. And I think Rushie's better going shorter. I don't really know why Rushie was in this race. So
yeah, me either.
To me, it came down to these 2 horses on paper, and they ran to it. And Country Grammar, he's got new life now, right?
I guess what I will say, I'm looking at this Fountain of Youth that Country Grammar ran in last year. He lost to Ete Indian. Now, mind you, Ete Indian was a horse that everyone liked, so we'll leave that out for a minute. He lost to Candy Tycoon, who went off at 23-1. He lost to As Seen on TV. Never heard of that horse since then. And Shotsky for Jeremiah O'Dwyer. This horse finished 5th with Chad Brown. Now, granted, I will give you Chad. In terms of Triple Crown, like I put that 4th on his list. Like I want him on the turf ahead. Yeah. I want youngsters on the turf ahead. I want fillies ahead. So I will say Country Grammar, like as a 3-year-old, I don't put the Triple Crown like in the Pletcher. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. It's not a shot against him, but when I think of Chad Brown, I think of turf, then I think of young turfers, then I think of fillies. Like I don't think of Triple Crown. But nonetheless, Bob Baffert would have had this horse winning that Fountain of Youth. Like, yeah. So something is not wrong. This horse beat Mystic Guide I mean, I don't know how.
I mean, Mystic Guide was not very good last year.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how, but nonetheless, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's talking about the Peter Pan where Country Grammar and Caracaro beat Mystic Guide. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get it, but nonetheless,
I think Mystic Guide then won the Jim Dandy after that. That's right. Yeah.
Then Tiz, then First Off the Layoff. I mean, this horse is very inconsistent, but it seems like Bob's gotten consistency out of him, which no one has been able to do. The
thing, all of a sudden the horse is has great early speed and is can run two seconds faster early and still go on. It's pretty crazy. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he's just well,
really
it's good.
It's like the boy who cried wolf. I mean, there's a wolf, there's a wolf, there's a wolf. Then the 400th time there's actually a wolf. Well, we're not going to believe you after the first 399 unsuccessful times. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here. So maybe Bob Baffert is the best trainer of all time, or maybe he's just a piece of scum. Who knows? Let's go to the final race. This is the other grade 1. This was the Gamely Stakes going 1 1/8 mile on the turf for fillies and mares, 3 year olds and upward. I do want to say shout out to Santa Anita for not only getting pretty full fields for the most part, but also ending their day on stakes races. Most tracks do not do that. Lone Star did that with the Sexton Mile. Unfortunately, Belmont's not going to do that, and we'll get into those races. But I really do like when they end on a big race, because sometimes the only people who stay, Aaron, and you know this, people that are alive in tickets. After that, everyone gets out of there, especially after a long day. So quick shout out there. Maxim Rate, though, I'm speechless, because I didn't consider this horse at all. Granted, did come from Keeneland, and you could see, Aaron, the 2 Keeneland runners did finish 1-2. Now, La Signore, I think I'm saying that right, did make sense on paper. She wasn't dreadful, but Maxim Rate, I would have picked to finish towards the bottom. She goes on and wins by half length. She got the lead and kind of did it. I was more disappointed with Charmaine's Mia. I mean, you can't it says yield at the 16th bull. You can't finish like that. I know it was dreadful early on and it was a little quick, but I would have liked to see her do better. What did you think of this race whenever you got a chance to watch it?
Well, I'll admit I was kind of watching this one out of the corner of my eye. The other two that we talked about, I was pretty much locked on and watching because they had other screens, obviously, in the room we were in. But this one, I was kind of looking and I glanced up and it's oh, well, Charmaine's Mia's 2 ahead. Probably going to just win. And then I looked back up again. And I'm where'd she go? So, this was a weird race. I'm with you. I thought La Signore, I had that horse. I used that horse. Maxim Rate, I was pretty surprised was able to get up and win. But, I sometimes it's just a situation where these horses, when one gets out in front and quits like that and is the favorite, all of a sudden it becomes a scramble, right? So, and that's kind of what happened. And Maxim Rate, sat right there in pretty good spot the whole way and had run for this one.
Yeah, I ultimately that's what it comes down to. She just got the best, and maybe these Keeneland runners are just better.
Right.
I'm not sure. If Magic were to come on here, this would be the race where I would say, look, Magic, the 2 runners from the East Coast were outran, and one of them no one even liked. So that's the thing with Smooth Like Straight, though. If he's going to come and face the best horse on the East Coast, he's probably going to finish 3rd or 4th. If he runs out there, he's got a shot. Now, it'd be cool if Domestic Spending and those horses were to go out there. They probably won't, but that would be the cool thing. Aaron, we do have a whole Belmont card to get to. We're going to start on Saturday, race number 3, I believe. This card is just absolutely stacked. It's borderline kind of nuts. I don't remember Belmont's card last year being like this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't remember. I didn't look at it. Maybe it was, but this thing is nuts. I think there's 8 grade 1s and a grade 2. We're going to start with the Woody Stevens for 3-year-olds. So this is, I don't want to say the lesser 3-year-olds, but this is more of that sprinter type race. It's 7 furlongs going 1 turn. What we're going to do here, we're not going to give picks, but we're going to kind of just give a race shape, a race highlight, maybe a storyline we're looking forward to. We're going to go back and forth because I'm sick and tired of Aaron getting first run. So I'm going to start, even though I give him first run. I'm going to start first here. For me, the headline in this race comes down to Drain the Clock. Now, why do I say that? This horse hasn't faced the best of the best, and he's going to be tested here. I think Drain the Clock, Aaron, like people don't look at him as like an A+ horse, but his A-, like what he runs, a 92, something like that, is really, really good. Let's see how he stacks up. I really, really like this horse. I'm going to consider using him on top, but that's my storyline here.
Storyline for me, can Dreamshake turn the tables on Jackie's Warrior, and can he do it because of the presence of Drain the Clock? You know, you remember last time out, Dreamshake kind of had to take it to Jackie early. He doesn't have to do that. Drain the Clock's got speed, and oh, by the way, Cattle River has speed as well. And I agree that I think, Nick, you said a comment that Cattle River is, trash because all the other Arkansas Derby horses, there it is, have been trash. I subscribe to that 1,000%. I totally agree. That's a great way to look at it, and I will look at it that way. But Cattle River has speed and can mess the race up. I'm not saying he has a shot to win, but can hurt Jackie's Warrior. So I think Dreamshake, can he turn the tables? That's what I'm my biggest headline.
For the record, for everyone, Jackie's Warrior is undefeated when going a mile or less. So just keep that in mind as well. No sloppy races other than the one Oaklawn in the Southwest. Let's move on to the next race. That's race number 4. This is the Brooklyn Stakes. This is the Grade 2 race for 4-year-olds and upward, going 1 1/2 miles. For the record, they're going to go around one full turn. That's the way Belmont is set up. It's nuts. Not one full turn, but like one full lap. Sorry, that's what I should say. 2 full turn. It's like 1.5 miles. Like Oaklawn's usually like 3, almost 3.5. This is a legitimate 1 full lap. Aaron, I'll start here. I can't believe this is a Grade 2. I love this race. These things are awesome. I'm going to try to play against Tis a Magician, though. I'm going to take a shot, I think, with Lone Rock. He's run this race before. I know Magic would kill me if he listened to this, but this is just a great race. The storyline, I think, is Tis a Magician because that's the racing dude's horse. I'm going to try to be the opposite. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go with Lone Rock, but this is awesome. I think you can make a case for a bunch. This is, Aaron, I think this might be the most wide open race of the whole card, to be honest.
Yeah, Magic's favorite horse, Tis a Magician. He owns a piece through my racehorse, so he's super excited. Here's what I like to do with the Brooklyn. I like to watch exactly how the race was won. Meaning, was it a speed horse? Was it a horse from off the pace? And I also like to write down the final time of the race and then use that when you go to the Belmont and say, well, this horse went gate to wire in the Brooklyn, so maybe speed at 1.5 miles is going to really help. And once that final time of the Belmont comes, you can compare it to the Brooklyn, and then you have a kind of a talking point there. So that's the 2 things I like to do with this race. And I'm with you. I wish this was a Grade 1. It feels like one. I mean, I don't necessarily care, about what these horses have done in the past. When it comes to 1.5 miles, these horses are tough to beat. There's a lot of good ones here. So, and I would put them up against some of those other ones that maybe have beat them at 1 1/8 miles. You get up this 1.5 mile distance, there's very few that can do it.
I think this, honestly, I hate saying this might be an all race. So we're going to get to it. I mean, you can make the case, I think, for a lot. Let's go to the Acorn. If you guys don't remember, this is for 3-year-old fillies. So last year, the Acorn was won by Gamine. I think the length of stride is still distancing. Excuse me. She won, I think, by like 20 lengths. I don't think we're going to have a 20 length winner in this one. For me, I think this comes down to Miss Brazil. Can Miss Brazil turn the table? She only lost the search results by 0.5 length when they ran back on March 6th in the Busher. We do have day out of the office. Aaron, to me, this is a complete play against Travel Column. So that's probably my biggest headline. I do think there are 2, but my biggest headline as a complete play against Travel Column.
Yeah, I don't hate that thought. For me, it's search results. Just exciting to see search results back. I don't think she can win by 20, but I think she's going to get the job done here. I think she's going to look pretty sharp doing it.
All I know is the winner of this race, Malathot, and always Karina. If we have a triple threat in the Coaching Club American Oaks, I might be pretty excited.
That would be great.
The jackpot, I don't know, jack pocket Jaipur, just call it the Jaipur. For 3-year-olds and up, we're going 6 furlongs on the turf. This is another good race. All right. I didn't get a chance to show all the stuff, but I will. Aaron, this kind of looks pretty slow on paper for this race. I'm curious to see my headline, who goes with Bound for Nowhere? Bound for Nowhere should be on the lead, and Joel Rosario doesn't want to ride horses on the lead. So that's the headline for me. I know I'm not picking anything great. Joel Rosario had a speed horse start dead last, basically, or close to last in Shakertown. I mean, I don't know what the heck that was. But let's see what happens here. There are a lot of good horses, but I think this race kind of starts and ends with Bound for Nowhere, and there will be a long shot that pushes the pace. I guarantee it. I just don't know which one it's going to be yet.
I'm 100% with you. This race is paceless for a turf sprint. Bound for Nowhere has the ability to get clear and get clear by 2 or 3. And if that happens, I don't know. So I have the same headline. Who goes with Bound for Nowhere?
Too bad Chaos Theory or Texas Wedge can't wheel back and run in this race. That would have been cool. Yeah. Texas Wedge definitely would have injected some pace.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The Ogden Phipps. We're going to move on here. Race 7. Oh, there is one. Secret Rules is an MTO. It's supposed to be nice weather. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Fillies and Mares, 4-year-olds and up. We're going 1 1/16 miles. Aaron, you were on Latruska a long time ago in terms of like the filly to watch. I was not. I'm going to go back to the good old friend of Swiss Skydiver. She's been one of my favorite horses. She did not get a good trip at all. She's a horse that wants to close, and she was too close in the Apple Blossom. Aaron, I believe Swiss Skydiver is one of the few that's going to run without Lasix here, which could be a big key to this race. I'm pulling up right here. Swiss Skydiver ran her last 2 without it, but Valiant, Latruska, those horses are going to be without Lasix. So let's see what that means. She Dares the Devil did it as well. What's your storyline or headline in this one?
I worked on the guide all day yesterday. I cannot come up with a firm pick just yet on this one. I'm still trying to decide. Man, I don't know. I'm with you. Like Swiss Skydiver, I kind of want to go right back to her, but I don't know. I don't really agree that she's got a bad trip in the Apple Blossom. I just think she got beat, but I don't think she ran well. I think she's capable of much, much better. Latruska, She Dares the Devil. Listen, but I've loved both of them. I've been on them, and I've been on She Dares the Devil the hardest. So I don't know. And then this comment right here, this is messing with me too. How good must Pletcher think Valiance is to debut her here? I mean, and she's 4-1 on the morning line. This is the race of the day for me. I can't wait for this one.
Let's move on to the next race. Again, Aaron has a hard out. We said 11:50. Probably going to push closer to 11:55. Yeah. This is the Longines Just a Game Stakes, Grade 1, going fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, 1 mile on the turf. For me, it comes down to these. I'm going to highlight this. Charlie Appleby has 2 horses that we've never seen in this country. What are they? I mean, and they're getting Mike Smith and Luis Saez. That's kind of what it is for me. I will say I do like a little bit of a long shot here. But, Aaron, this is another good race. I think you can make a case for 6 or 7 of them, to be honest.
Listen, I think this is a race where a lot of people are going to try to get a price, and I don't blame them, and I am as well. I haven't made final decisions yet, but I think you got to try to get one here, right? And I think you can. And like you said, there's 2 horses there that we don't know anything about that are coming over. Well, as far as United States running anyway. Chad Brown has 4 in the race, so there's a lot going on there. It's the headline is we got to get a price.
Yeah, let's go to the next race. I think this is going to be a lot of people single. This is the Hillendale Metropolitan Handicap, also known as the Met Mile, for 3-year-olds and upward, obviously going 1 mile, 8 furlongs. This comes down to, for me, I'll try to be a little different. How good is Silver State? right? He's in form. He's been running all over the country. He's now won 5 in a row. He hasn't lost since last March, so we're approaching a year. How good were those horses that he faced at Oaklawn? I think we're about to find out. He did beat one of the horses I hate the most, Sha Shake Me Up, a long time ago as well. I think that's the storyline for me. How good is he? Because he's going to face arguably the best horse going right now.
The headline for me is, what kind of form is Nick's what kind of form is he in, basically? Because here's what gives me pause and why I don't think I will single him. And again, I haven't made any decisions yet. I'm going to do that today. But this horse was pointed for the Sexton Mile down at Lone Star. Like, that's where they were going to run him. And then when Charlatan pulled out, they said, oh, okay, we'll go here now. I don't know. I don't like that. Like, that doesn't really show me a ton of confidence. Like, this horse is a Breeders' Cup winner. This horse won the Pegasus, and you're going to take him to Lone Star? And that's not a knock on Lone Star. I love Lone Star, but Nick's Go shouldn't be running at Lone Star when the Met Mile's the next week.
Well, I'll take it from here. That's a shot at Lone Star, and I'm all for it. It is a shot at Lone Star. Lone Star is not Belmont Day. I mean, who cares?
Well, if the Sexton Mile used to be like 4 weeks before the Met Mile, okay, that's a great spot to prep. But with it being a week, Nick's Go should be in the Met Mile. I don't care if Charlatan's going to be there or not. Nick's Go should be in the Met Mile. Yeah,
again, you don't want to take a shot at Lone Star because you try to be, play multiple hats. I don't care. It's Belmont Day. I mean, if he's ready to go, run him in this race. Don't say you're pointing to the Sexton Mile. Who cares? Let's move on to the next race. I'm sorry, we're not getting to any of the comments just because we have a hard out. I apologize for that. This is the Resorts World, of course, another new sponsor. The Manhattan Stakes, Grade 1, going 1 1/4 miles for 4-year-olds and upward. That's 10 furlong. How good is domestic spending? I think this kind of looks like a 2-horse race. I know there are morning lines. I would suggest Gafo, maybe Masterpiece. Aaron, I think these 2 horses are much better than the rest. And to me, I've said this for a long time, domestic spending is the best older turf horse going. Off the layoff, closes from way out of it to catch Colonel Liam. So that's where I'm looking. I think domestic spending might be my best bet of the day.
Yep, I'm pumped for domestic spending. I'm pumped for that. So that's definitely the headline here. And Gafo, he might be the upsetter. I'm kind of interested in him. If they get some more pace, I think Gafo could upset, but I'm all about domestic spending.
I think there's one of 2 way I'm going to play this race. It's either domestic spending with Gafo or domestic spending with Colonel Liam. I think I don't know how I'm going to do it, but domestic spending will be on top. I'm not giving anything away there. All right, Aaron, here we go. We got a couple minutes. The Belmont Stakes, Grade 1. We're going to get into all these again with picks next on Friday. Aaron's not going to be here tomorrow. I'll dive into that a little bit. What is your storyline? I'll start with you. What is your storyline in this race?
I think the pace of the race is really the key to it. So what will happen with the pace is the storyline, because, the Belmont usually is run on the front end, but, we have Rock Your World, who absolutely has to be in front, right? Like, they have to just send him this time. Hot Rod Charlie, you think, is going to be up there running with him. And then the 5-horse, France Godina, probably should be there too, if that's, if you want your best shot of winning. So 3 horses that like to go to the front. Can Rock Your World clear, or will horses like Hot Rod and France Godina bother him enough to set it up? I think that's the big key to the race.
For me, the storyline is Rock Your World. I haven't made my final pick. I'm close to putting this horse on top. I've been saying this for a long time. I was all in on it. The the Kentucky Derby was not his race. That's not a fair judgment. If he comes back and wins, I'm going to be very disappointed and very happy at the same time. I'm going to be disappointed because I'm going to have to say Joel Rosario did something well. I don't want to do that. He's been a nightmare. But that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow, we're going to do a full Belmont preview, but it's not going to be with the man above me. It's going to be with the anonymous Dan Tjordman from America's Best Racing. He's going to come on. We're only going to be on for 20, 30 minutes tomorrow. We will not be previewing anything. We are going to cover the Belmont field in full. I think we'll do some stakes races on Saturday as well. Maybe we'll do a little sequence, kind of what we did here with Aaron. But we're not going to be previewing anything tomorrow. We're going to have him come on, kind of tell us what they're doing for the Derby, what they're going to be doing for the Belmont over there. Aaron's going to be traveling to New York tomorrow. I think his flight's in the afternoon. Friday, Aaron will be back on. We will preview Friday's card. We'll preview, I guess, the pick 4. So that's what we're going to be doing. Then Lady Valentine making debut tomorrow. I
handicapped that race this morning. I think you got a big shot. So
Lady Valentine at Belmont.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then I must have skipped over that. I got to relook at that one.
Let me see. It's in the second race, I think, maybe.
Well, hopefully on Friday we can come on and talk a little Lady Valentine. But that's what we're going to be doing.
I'm sorry, fifth race.
Not going to make our pick 4 sequel. We're not doing a pick 4 sequence tomorrow, but Anonymous Dan will come on. We'll talk Belmont in full, and then Aaron will come back Friday. We're going to do a quick preview of the pick 4 at Belmont on Friday. Whatever, I think it's going to be 8 through 11, something like that. And then Aaron and I will go through our top choices and final thoughts. But that's going to do it for us today. Again, please tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. for myself and Anonymous Dan. Aaron will be traveling. Maybe he can chime in with a few comments, things like that. But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, real quick, Bob Baffert, the test came back positive on that split test. I'm sure it's all over Twitter, New York Times. I think he was on CNN already.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Someone responded to my tweet saying he's CNN already. So hopefully this thing gets ironed out. But that's going to do it for us today. Again, 11 a.m. I'll be on tomorrow. Aaron will be traveling. He'll be back on Friday. We'll do full breakdown of Belmont. It's just a great week overall. Even tomorrow's card, I think there are 3 stakes races highlighted by 2 grade 3, the Intercontinental and maybe the Westchester Intercontinental and the Wonder again. Sorry, the and then there's another stakes race as well. It's just a great time to be at Belmont. The weather's supposed to be great. Aaron, safe flight, safe travels to you and Jared, and I'll see you guys on Saturday, bright and early. It's going to be a long day for us on Saturday, as it always is, as anticipated. But that's going to do it for us today. Again, everyone chime in with your comments, questions, concerns ahead of the Belmont. We're just 3 days away now, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy your Wednesday afternoon. Take care, everyone.